All right, we're going to continue with the adventures with Debbie, the animal eating push lawnmower. I don't think I mentioned that Debbie takes a bag, but she didn't come with that. This thing was really rough when I got it. It was missing the carburetor, and I've made some few changes. If you've been following along, this is, I think, number 4 in the series. Cleaned and lubricated the wheels, repaired the rewinder. You can see it's got my nice blue cord on up there, and it appears to work. And also I have installed this mulch plate here. I had to have something to cover this just for safety. I don't know if I'll stick with this, but it's kind of rough. But it's on there. I have not cleaned and lubricated the rear wheels yet. It's got a really kind of ugly looking little knob there. If I've got an extra one, I'll change that out because that looks pretty crummy. But I mean, it's working. I think it may be something, because I replaced the handle. The other handle was so messed up. I went into my supplies out in the back and dug out a handle. I did replace the missing knob there. That's my last one, so gonna have to come up with something for these, because these mowers are everywhere, as you know, this type. One interesting aside here is here's a Toro recycler that I bought for $40. Let me get over here in the sunlight where you can see it a little better. The cord is a little weird, so I'm definitely going to change that. Lady said it didn't run. I bought it for $40. I got it home, and I could tell when I took off the air cover, it's a self-priming, what they call ready start. There's your ready start, self-priming carburetor. But the throttle plate was wide open, so there's something wrong under there. But so I'll be repairing that. I did squirt some starter fluid in there, and there was some gasoline in it, and by gosh, it started up and ran, and self-propelled works. So this mower is going to be a good one way or another, because it runs. It's a turbo. You know, these things are about $400 mowers when you do this personal pace feature, and that worked also. So I'm happy about this little purchase. But let's get back to what we're doing, which is saving Debbie. And so what I've got to do now is install a carburetor on her. So let me get my camera set up so you guys can see this. So she didn't have a carburetor, so I've got to find one. And, I fixed so many old crummy mowers, I've saved parts off on them. I've got a carburetor that'll fit this mower, and it is a self-priming one. So I've got to find the linkages that go to it. I did take the tank off this mower and cleaned it out. It's pretty clean. I put some carb cleaner in there, and then I also swished some good clean gas around in it. If you'll remember, there was a grocery bag stuck in here, so there was no cap. So I had to go into my supplies of caps that I've saved over the years, and I think that one is going to fit. So to install the carburetor, I've got to get this cover off. And by the way, I did check this, and it works. I squirted a little starter fluid in there, carb, and it did fire. So I'm optimistic. And we had reinstalled the flywheel key, as you know, because it had been bumped. And if they've just been bumped, you don't have to replace them. If they've just been bumped, then what I do is I just flip it over. And it gets nice and snug that way. All right, so I've got our reminder off, and let me get some of this crud out of here. And I squirted some WD-40 on this guy. You can see it still has the spring action, so I think that's going to work okay. The governor spring is in place, and this linkage is in place. It is bent, so let me straighten that a little bit. There, that helped a lot. Okay. So let me walk over here for a second. I'm going to grab a carburetor. All right, here's a self-priming carburetor. I made a note to myself here. What does it say? It says it leaked badly the last time. And it says I cleaned it and it's ready to test. So you guys may get to see a big old horrible carburetor leak if my repair didn't work. But hopefully it did. So let's try this one. It looks pretty clean. Came off a busted mower. And one of the things I've got to do is find the linkage from the self-priming feature, which can run from there to there. So let's do that. Let me set that little carburetor there. See if I can find you some linkages. All right, here's one. I think that's the one I need. It connects like that with the little loop, I think, down. So to angle it in over here and then bring it this way. That thing looks like it's been twisted, so let me, not sure why it's like that. I don't think it's supposed to be like that. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I probably got it the wrong way. Let me try this way. Okay, yeah, there we go. So I had it the wrong direction. So the short end from the loop, short from that little loop goes to that side. This side goes to the carburetor. And so now I can take this carburetor, I'll turn it this way, and it's going to go in that little hole right there. Hope you saw that. So we got that in there. And now I can put this linkage in there. And as you know, I usually slide this on as a unit. So let me get my tank and go ahead and install that. I know other people don't do it this way, but I do. So I'll put it on now rather than putting the carburetor on and then fumbling around up in here. Well, it's off and loose. I find that easier to get on here. So let's see if I can slip this on real good. Okay, it's going. It's not going all that smooth. Let me get I'm gonna put me a little drop of WD-40 or something on there. Hang on, guys. Well, I guess I could get that hose clamp out of the way. That would help. There we go. Well, let me hit that with a little shot of WD-40. It'll slide on there a little easier. There we go. Not much, just a drop or two. Okay, here we go. Let's try it again. Yeah, see that's going on there nice and easy now. Okay, now before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and tighten the hose clamp. And I'm going to use my flat end pliers here because that'll grab these ears really good. Ease that up. There. And now I've got to go in under that crankcase ventilation tube and make sure I've got my little gasket in there. So that's all lined up, but before I put it on now, I'm going to ease the gas tank into place. And that slips down on those ears, and now I can ease this on. Make sure it's not binding anywhere. There we go. And I think I'll squirt a little W40 on that too, just to make it a little easier, right where it slides on the intake manifold. All right, so now we're going to go in, push that in. Okay, now before I put all this back together, since this thing said it leaked last time, and by the way, this is doing what it's supposed to. Let me show you. See, it's got the choke plate closed, so that when you pull the cord, it creates a vacuum and pulls fuel in there. And that's the way these self-priming ones work. And then as the muffler gets hot, and it happens quickly, it starts to move this over, and it goes, and it pushes the choke plate out of the way, see? And then you've got the main throttle under there, under that, and then that'll let your fuel go in. But you need that to choke it, to start it at first, and then it moves out of the way as it gets hot. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put some fuel in this thing and check for leaks. I'm not going to waste your time doing that, but if I've got another carburetor on when we come back, then you'll know that that one did leak, and we'll talk about it. All right, so we'll see you in a little while.